22 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Every once in a while, Rob, we'll get a book that is really such a well-written book, and I will not see right away what the topic of discussion will be once we actually talk about the book. And maybe because it's just there's so many parts to this book. It is called The Mountain Place of Knowledge, and it is written by our next guest, Marshall Chamberlain. He is described in his bio as a disabled U.S. Marine Corps officer, a survivalist, which obviously he is. He's a humorist. Yes. And we'll hear that, I suppose, during this interview. And he's an advocate for life, which I think I am as well. Yeah. How safe are our military bases, our U.S. military bases? That's part of what this discussion is about. But the book is so much bigger than that. And it's an interesting combination of his expertise and his background and maybe even some of his thoughts about what we can do to protect us in the future. The Mountain Place of Knowledge. This is a big book. Let's find out about it from Marshall himself. Marshall Chamberlain. Good morning, Marshall.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Robin?
Where are you?
Thanks a lot for the opportunity to speak with your listeners.
Oh, you're welcome. Where are you, Marshall?
I'm in Fort Myers Beach, Island.
Oh, not too far away. Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right.
On the road.
So can I ask, what is the extent of your disability? Are you in a wheelchair?
No.
Okay.
My disability has to do with the Vietnam War and Agent Orange, and Agent Orange has caused a lot of veterans some huge disabilities and over 20 different diseases. One of them is prostate cancer.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So in writing this book, how long has the thought behind the storyline of the book been harboring within you? And was the seed that started the book the storyline, or was it the underlying observation that you make in the book? And I'll let you explain that.
The Mountain Place of Knowledge is the first book in the Ancestor series. There's 3 books, and I'm just about done with the second one. The first one, The Mountain Place of Knowledge, is available, in bookstores and on Amazon, etc. But it really doesn't have an awful lot to do with the main thing that I really wanted to discuss with you today. I know that your station is vitally interested in local and state news and politics and what's going on, what's important. And just down the road from you in Tampa is the setting for a short story that I wrote because of my outrage at the lack of security on military bases. And that's kind of really what I'd like to focus in on. I write adventure thriller novels, and if listeners are interested in that, then they can, go to Amazon or whatever, maybe, and, check it out.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's why I was confused when after looking at the book and then looking at the information for the interview, I wanted to be sure that this was indeed what you wanted to talk about. So it's a fascinating topic.
Very.
So thank you for doing that. Okay. In what way are our military bases not as secure as they should be?
Well, let me just give you a little bit of background. I mean, I'll try to be short. My outrage has taken place over the last decade or so at visiting and taking advantage of the wonderful recreation facilities on military bases now for some time. And I was always dismayed at how easy it was to get through the main gate. And then once you're through the main gate with a simple ID card, you can wander around the base and nobody asks you a single question. After I discovered that I could take golfing buddies in with me, and their IDs weren't even checked at the gate, only mine, and our trucks were never inspected. They could hold anything. And so what I did is I wrote a short story of plausible reality on an actual terrorist attack that could possibly happen at MacDill Air Force Base just down the road from y'all.
Okay.
And I wanted to share that story here as we go along, share that story with listeners by sending them to my website where they can download the PDF for complimentary.
Okay, and what is the website that you've mentioned it?
It's marshallchamberlain.com, and listeners would just click on the book tab and they would see the title of the short story, which is called The Gruesome Foursome, a Terrorist Scenario.
Okay. One of the things that came out in the news maybe a couple of years ago was a casting call of sorts to ask authors, especially fiction authors, especially thriller fiction authors, to work with the Pentagon to come up with scenarios that maybe the creative mind would be able to come up with that the military mind might not. So they were trying to tap into the creative minds of our authors in this country to see if they might be able to figure out what the bad guys might do next.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're on that track. Did the Pentagon get the story you're talking about, and does it help them?
I have no idea. I hadn't heard of that effort out there. I will certainly follow up on this if you could give me a lead.
I will do that. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like that's what you've done. It sounds like you've done exactly what they were hoping for from different authors.
Yeah, and thanks for mentioning it.
In the material, it was written that the number of anti-government groups in the United States has increased by some 800% since Obama took office. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's not my number. It's the number that was put out by the Southern Foundation there out of Birmingham.
Uh-huh.
It's also a number that's tracked by the FBI. They all have different ways of categorizing groups that they're watching. Patriot groups, hate groups, et cetera, aside from all the terrorist groups outside of our country that are well known. And the fact that that particular quote of information mentioned Mr. Obama, mm-hmm. I don't really think there's anything relevant there. It's not because of him.
Oh, I see.
On his watch, this is what's been happening.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that some of these groups might contain U.S. veterans that have military ID cards that might go into the U.S. bases and cause them harm?
That's kind of just up to conjecture. I think that getting on the military bases is just an easy thing to do. That's what that's one of the main things we're trying to point out here. The fact that ID cards can simply be manufactured is just common knowledge. There's forgers out there doing ID cards in all different ways. Driver's licenses, military, whatever is needed out there gets done in the black market.
Wow.
After September 11th, we suddenly became very conscious of the fact that we need to be very careful with who we let onto airplanes and who we let into the country, et cetera. But that didn't last. Was the security at the military bases also, did it also become more lackadaisical as the rest of the world did?
Larry, I'm not an expert on that, but my sense of the matter is yes. I've been told that by other people. The day after 9/11 or the day after there's some sort of a scare and the threat level goes down, and the security that is defined by those threat levels just backs off to a lesser level.
Is the Port Authority part of the U.S. military, or is that separate?
Are we talking about McDill Air Force Base, Ron?
Yeah, and there's and also too down in Tampa, when you go down there, you'll see these big Port Authority signs, and it'll say no entrance. You know, you cannot cross the line. Are they considered military or separate?
As far as I know, they're not. That's a commercial organization.
Okay, I want to make sure that we are fair to the book, though. The book is called The Mountain Place of Knowledge, but it's not the topic today. So we'll talk about that. That's a techno-thriller novel. We're talking about how safe our U.S. military bases are with Marshall Chamberlain, and we do have some phone calls coming in. Are you okay with taking calls?
Oh, wonderful. That's great.
All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning. Thank you for waiting. You're on the air with Marshall Chamberlain.
Yeah, good morning. There's probably no such thing as a foolproof identity card. 76 people broke out of a prison camp in 1944 in Germany using documents that they forged within the camp using pen and ink that actually simulated rubber stamps. and it fooled a lot of German guards for quite a couple of weeks. There's no such thing as a foolproof identity card.
Huh.
That's a good comment.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. All right, thank you.
Have a good morning.
Appreciate that. Yeah, well, that's just the way it is. We're always there's no foolproof currency, right? We can fake anything, especially nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And look at Larry, going into the military bases, the guards, the military police that are manning these stations as the small end of the funnel, if you will, never check your car. Never check your truck. I mean, you could have anything inside that vehicle. And this terrorist scenario that I've written tries to take most of that apart and put it back together again so people can really see how easy it is and get outraged and hopefully go to social media, go to friends, go to relatives, and spread the word and try to make a big splash here so that we can get recognized by the government and or the military and something gets done.
Right. When we talk about all enemies, domestic and foreign, let's talk about the domestic ones for a second. Timothy McVeigh was a domestic threat, right? I mean, obviously he was an American, and he blew up the Edward Murrow building in Oklahoma as if he was a terrorist, and so somebody like that could easily have a real, an authentic identification card and still have terror on his mind.
Most assuredly. The different directions that terrorism can come from are unlimited.
What would be the advantages to a non-military person going to a military base with a military person? I mean, what would you want to see there?
Well, the point there is that one ID card gets a vehicle through. Mm-hmm. The guys in the back seat could be the worst guys in the world.
So do you think, in your opinion, that 911 could happen again here?
Well, 911 was strictly involving airplanes. This is just a simple, right-in-your-face risk that is controllable, in my view. The fine end of the funnel, like I mentioned, at those military bases. Those gates. Nothing goes into the military base unless it's through those gates. And we just need more controls.
Right, let's go back to the phone. Thank you for being patient with us. You're on the air with Marshall Chamberlain.
Good morning, Mr. Chamberlain. I totally agree with your concept and your beliefs about that. What astounds me is the fact that we even have a Navy ship. I believe it's the USS New York. It's a supply ship, and there are 14 Navy personnel on there. The rest of the crew is contract workers. This supply ship supplies the material and whatever to aircraft carriers and their escorts. That's number one. Number two, we don't have cooks anymore. All the Army bases, it's all contracted out. During the Iraq War, was Halliburton supposedly did all the cooking and the setting up and running of the bases. Where is our military, number one? And number two, where in God's name is the military leadership? There's no clue of what's going on here. And it's costing the military a lot of money to have these contract workers out there because they get paid a lot more than our troops do. I'll hang up and listen to your comment on that, sir. Thank you very much, and your book sounds very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Awful lot to comment on there. Just more observations about the possible depth and breadth of these problems. What the gentleman is telling us is that there are other considerations to take a look at in this broad view of military-based security. And I fully agree with it. Just to make a comment about the contractors, over the years, of course, what he has said is absolutely true. We have more contracting of functions inside bases and a lot more than I know anything about. But for instance, at McGill or any of these major bases in Florida, the contractors have a procedure that they have to go through to get authorized to be on the base, and that includes ID cards as well.
So do you think that the act of Edward Snowden then has opened up a lot more eyes since he came forward?
Oh my gosh, I hate to even think of what has been given up there, and it's very surprising to me that we can't find a way to get this boy back into town and take care of his business.
Yeah, that is weird. That we can't. That I mean, everybody seems to know where he is. I mean, he's issuing news releases all the time.
Right.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
We have to figure that the information that he has already been compromised in some way or form, and it's just him that needs to be brought to justice. But that's not going to solve the problem of the huge picture that's already out there. All the information that's been shared about our military and our secrets, all that has to be done over again because of him.
The safety of our bases on foreign soil obviously is different depending on the foreign soil we're talking about. So just comment on that. I mean, on a global scale, how safe are the bases, let's say, in Germany or in any other country other than our own, Japan, for example?
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to take a guess at that. I mean, I've been to Japan and I've been to Germany, but I haven't been on a base during those trips. The bases are basically leased or whatever. They're owned by and operated by the military. I would assume the way in which people get access to those bases is any different than it is in this country.
And do you think the manufacturing of the fighter jets and any kind of materials that the U.S. is going to have in its arsenal in case there is another huge war, that is a good thing, and that we should really keep that under wraps and not be transparent about that?
I don't think I'm really capable of judging that, Robin. That's a toughie.
Okay.
Maybe we should ask some of your listeners.
I mentioned earlier about the Pentagon seeking novelists for ideas on how terrorists, and while we were talking, I was simultaneously trying to scan the internet to see if I could find that article. So far, no luck. If I can find it, I will. I remember this from a few years ago, though, wasn't it, Robin?
Yes.
It's been a couple years already,
been 2
right?
or 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was like they were putting the call out because at the time I was asking like every novelist if they were contacted by the Pentagon. Marshall Chamberlain is on the phone. A fascinating topic. The website is probably more important to tell you right now than the book that I have. The website is his name, marshallchamberlain.com. Your bios makes you seem like a hermit of some sort. Are you a hermit?
Oh, I'm kind of a recluse, I guess.
Recluse.
I'm a loner. I've been involved with a search for meaning all my life. And most of the result of that keeps me away from other folks.
Well, you are true, but you are a true advocate for family, though, sir. It seems.
Oh yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the main things that we need to keep our military bases secret, and where people just can't go in there and try to blow them up because we need to protect our future generations.
Absolutely, we've got family life taking place inside those bases, big time.
So real quickly, before we run out of time, Marshall, if you could repeat once again, if we go to your website, there's a free PDF that we can download, and it is, what is that one titled again?
It's called The Gruesome Foursome, which is about golfers. The Gruesome Foursome, a terrorist scenario.
Okay. And these are domestic golfers, right?
Yeah, well, basically, yes. They're terrorists pretending to be golfers, just like me bringing some of my buddies aboard the base.
Well, what drove you to write a fictional novel when all of these horrendous acts have been happening throughout the centuries, with the research and everything depicting they were true?
Well, it's a skill that I have. I write fiction. I write thrillers, and I took my outrage and I said, well, what can I do? The best thing that I could do, in my estimation, was to write a short story that, from the viewpoint of terrorists, on how something like this might unfold.
And it does seem real. I mean, myself as the reader was totally enthralled with this. This is one of those not being able to put it down books until you're done.
Are you talking about the short story?
Yeah, The Mountain Place of Knowledge.
The long one.
The long one. Yeah.
That's the long one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The short one's about our travesty over there at MacDill Air Force Base. And I sure appreciate you reading my book, Robin.
Well, you're welcome.
All right, I just found it on the website. The gruesome foursome on the what's the matter? MarshallChamberlain.com. What happened? What did I miss right there?
I don't know.
Well, when I went to the website, it wasn't clear right away where to go for the book you were talking about. And now I see it on here. Well, gosh, my goodness, thank you for being on the air with us, Marshall. And I do have a copy of The Mountain Place of Knowledge, which we didn't talk about. But if you would like it, call me up. I'll be glad to put it on Patsy's desk for you. You can come here and pick it up at the station. And go to MarshallChamberlain.com to find out more about that, and also to download the free book, which is called The Gruesome Foursome. Anything else our listeners should know before we say goodbye?
I don't think so, and I appreciate you having me.
Okay. And is the book and your other writings available on Amazon, etc.?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Marshall, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you so much.
Good interview. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Hi, Danny Werfel here. You don't have to sacrifice convenience for local personal service.
At Florida Credit Union, you can transfer your high credit card balances to our rewards card and actually get paid with cash back. You'll enjoy low rates and a customizable card that fits your lifestyle for free.
Never tried a credit union? Maybe it's time for a new game plan.
The Florida Credit Union Wave Card, connecting your money to your life.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala. ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. An Ethiopian Airlines jet was hijacked apparently by its own co-pilot, who flew it to Geneva and asked for asylum. Swiss authorities say he will be prosecuted and could face 20 years in prison. They also say he commandeered the cockpit when the pilot took a restroom break. The toughest competitor at the Sochi Olympics today is the fog. It's postponed 2 events, including the snowboard cross race. American snowboarder Alex Diebold called it a blessing since the fog was clouding the course markers. Bodie Miller called it the most emotional day of his life after winning a bronze in the Super G. He lost his brother last year. Fellow American Andrew Weibrecht won a silver medal in the event. A new study finds up to 2% of all babies born in the U.S. are conceived through in vitro fertilization. The report also finds a growing number of women are opting to have just one embryo implanted to prevent multiple births. French investigators have ruled out any criminal wrongdoing in the debilitating ski accident that left Formula One racer Michael Schumacher severely hurt. He remains hospitalized. Prognosis unknown. This is ABC News.
Safety, safety, safety. I'm saying it 3 times. Studies show you need to hear something 3 times to remember it. So remember, safety, safety, safety is important to me. That's why I love Grainger. Grainger has the products to help keep our facilities safe and people safer. Say it with me, kid. Safety, safety, safety from Grainger, Grainger, Grainger. When you think safety, think Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Call clickgrainger.com/safety or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it.
You wouldn't let a friend get in the ring with a heavyweight champ. You wouldn't let a friend guess which wire to cut.
The white one.
So why on earth would you let a friend smoke? Friends don't let friends smoke, especially when there's an e-cig that looks, feels, and tastes just like the real thing. So for everything friends do, return the favor. Give them an Enjoy King electronic cigarette. Cigarettes, you've met your match. Available at participating Circle K, Racetrack, and other retailers nationwide. Not for sale to minors. Contains nicotine, which is addictive. Find out more at enjoy.com.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Where in Florida? Sunshine today, some clouds, and rather pleasant with a high of 73 to 77. Tonight will be mainly clear, though 42 and a few cool inland spots to 54 along the coast. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a high of 77 to 81. For Wednesday.